I would like to introduce our first speaker on steps 10, 11, and 12. I give you Abby.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi there. Hi everybody. I'm Abby. I'm an addict. Hi, Abby. It's freaking me out a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm a little slap happy. It's late. I never sleep well when I'm out of town, so you're gonna get what you get. I'm a little tired, but it's okay. I'm grateful to be here. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised, bred, all the things, and I am, I'm grateful to be here. And Narcotics Anonymous certainly has saved my life, and when I found 12-step recovery, I prayed about this and how I was going to start this meeting. Because 10, 11, and 12 are our maintenance steps, right? And it has to start from 1, and you have to get there. And so for me, I had found 12-step recovery in the year 2000, and my mom I was using every day, and I was on heroin, and I had a crazy boyfriend, and we had a crazy lifestyle, and it was completely dysfunctional. I could not hold a job. I was running up to Baltimore City every day from a very deep in the cut of Arnold, Maryland, which is a good 40-minute ride up to the city and back. I had no car, but I managed to get up there every day. And I was sick a lot because I'm a really shitty dope fiend. And so I was in a really bad way. And my mom and dad had I ended up staying in their basement. They had moved. And I ended up, me and my boyfriend didn't have anywhere to go. And they were like, whatever, just sleep in the basement. And so we were sleeping in the basement, and we were really sick, and we were running uptown, doing all this crazy stuff. And then they found our paraphernalia and asked me about it. My parents, they dibbled and dabbled a little druggy drugs, and they thought I was like doing cocaine, which kind of in their mind was a little tiny bit acceptable. Not really, but a little bit okay, but not really. Heroin was like a big no-no in my house, and alcohol. Those were like big no-nos. You could smoke weed, you could do a little coke, but like alcohol, heroin, kind of want to stay away from those things. And so they had found my paraphernalia, and they found out what the jig was up, and they're noticing my behaviors. They notice how I'm just looking crazy all the time. I'm sick or whatever. And so my mom got the newspaper, because it was a long time ago, and that's what you do. Thank God for public relations or public information at the time. They had put my makeup is all smeared. So they had put a schedule in the newspaper, and my mom was like, there's a meeting around the corner. It's Tuesday night. I'm going to take you to this meeting. So I smoked a lot of marijuana, and I was very, very dope sick, and I went to this meeting, and I share about this often because it's special to me, because this was in January of 2000, so it was 25 years ago, and I was very sick and very mentally not well, and people that were in that meeting still come to meetings, and they're still involved, and they're still in my life, and I did not stay clean. I was given an olive branch, I was given some information, and I wasn't willing to kind of take it, so I exit stage left and continued to get high for a while longer. And so for a good 20 months or so, I played the hokey pokey, I put my right foot in, I put the right foot out, put the left foot in, I shook it all about. And I was not willing to do any of the suggestions. And I'm picking up key tags, but I'm going home and doing shots of Sambuca, and nothing was adding up for me. I just really had no clue what I was doing. And I was very mentally not willing and didn't really want to change. And so I say all that, that's the beginning of the end for me. And that for me was a mustard seed of hope. Like coming to that meeting and going to different fellowships after, just getting little mustard seeds planted in my head, because I got my mom's side of the family that kind of does 12-step recovery, and I got my dad's side of the family that are kind of like alcoholic, methadone and stuff. So I got these two different perspectives, and I'm kind of in the middle trying to figure it out. And so when I ended up, fine, I'm going to speed it up to that time when I was done. I was not getting high every day. I was just falling into old patterns. You know, people I had met in different situations. This girl, she begged me to come get high with her, and I was like, I got to go to this meeting at 8:00, and it wasn't far from my house. My dad was going to let me use the car, and what ended up happening was, it was like autopilot for me. I wasn't sick. I wasn't using every day. It was like, just go with her, because this is what you're supposed, like autopilot, like knee-jerk reaction. And I just get in the car, I pick her up, and off we go to sell CDs. that's how old that is. So, and we got a little bit of money, and we go uptown, and we're right underneath there. So the Narcotics Anonymous Service Center in the Free State region in Maryland is in a drug-infested area, pretty much, and there's a bridge that's right next to it. And the last time that I got high was under that bridge near the service center. I had no idea what was in front of me. I didn't know the resources that I could tap into. There might have been a meeting going on there. I wouldn't know. All I know is I was supposed to be at an 8 p.m. meeting, and I was using again, and I hated myself for it. And I hated where I was headed, and I did not want to go down this path yet again. And so that night, I knew I had to make a choice. I ended up at a midnight meeting at the same place that 8:00 was. I sat there angry, frustrated, and pissed off at everybody, everything, mostly the disease of addiction when I think about it. And at that time, I knew I had to pick a way. Either you just go on, Abby, just go on, live in the gutter, or maybe you could try something else. Maybe you could try this 12-step recovery thing and see what the hell these people are, talking about. It might improve. Who knows? And so I made this conscious choice to do that the next day. I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to go to a meeting. And I did. I went to a 2 p.m. meeting with my then sponsor, and I didn't tell her what had happened the night before. I held on to like 3 days for like 30 days. And because I was tired of telling people. I was tired of picking up key tags. I was tired of getting, it just made me feel like shit to always get these white key tags and never listen to what the message was. So for the first time in my existence, I listened to the message and I opened my mind and I heard something in that meeting. I couldn't identify with anything that woman shared. It was honestly one of the most tragic stories I've ever heard. But what I could hear from her was, instead of comparing out from her, I started to compare in. If this woman could kind of go through this tragic situation, she looks like she might have grown from it, she can share it, and she's got like 15 years clean or whatever it was, I can't remember. But she was able to be vulnerable and honest, and I could not relate to the story and the trauma and all the things that she went through. But what I did want to understand was that if this woman could go through all that, get clean, and stay clean for any length of time, really, I think I can too. And so that was my very first spiritual awakening for me. That was the very first of all, my first surrender. And so I didn't know it at the time, but I continued from that from that day moving forward. I needed to live just for today. I had no idea what that meant. I didn't know how to live just for today. I read it a ton of times. I had heard it. I had read in the basic text. I did all the things, but I didn't understand any of that. So I tried for the first time to tap into that. And my then sponsor at that time, she said that she just wanted me to call her every day, and I needed to learn how to live just for today and get 30 days clean. And I had wrote steps, and they were not honest, and it was completely wild, some of the stuff I was writing in there, and all the blame, and all the just toxic. And so for the first time, I just said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go to these meetings, and she helped me get my little first part-time job. And I went to a meeting every single day for 30 days, probably sometimes 2. And I had been, and I had found myself getting a little bit free. And I was just sharing about this, I went to a convention for the first time. And I think I had, like I said, I held on to like these 3 days. So they're thinking like I have 8 days and I really have like 3 or something. It was something weird like that, And I go to this convention and the clean time countdown, and I was one of those people that stood up for like days clean and got my little basic text. And it was the first basic text I ever really God that was mine, and I really have not found, like, I really feel in my soul I surrendered at that for those first few days. And I had started meeting some different people, and I never was social with a whole lot of people at that time. I forgot how to do that, and I'm a very social person. I like people. I don't care if you're a man or woman. I like to talk. I'm like, I get that from my dad. I'll just talk to anybody, and just a social person. And so I didn't find that hard, but when I was using, I lost all that. I lost, like, the things I used to enjoy. I lost the sense of self. And so I kind of forgot that. And so I was reminded in that moment at that convention that, oh yeah, you do kind of like to talk to people. So I met some women that had a ton of clean time, and I didn't really know. This one was like friends with Jimmy Kay. I didn't know who the hell this one was. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. She showed me pictures and telling me stories, and we're at this marathon meeting, and I met her sponsee, and I was like, this is a big thing. Like, Narcotics Anonymous is pretty neat, So I was really excited about, that situation. And when I got home, and I began to work steps. And my journey really took off there. This is my story, and so... And I can't change it, but when I first got clean, I went to all the fellowships. I tried to figure that out. I started writing steps when I had 30 days clean, and I wrote it like it was a lifesaver. I had nothing to do. I had a part-time job. I went to meetings. I didn't have a spouse. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have a kid. I had nothing. I lived in my parents' basement. I had nothing to do. I just continued to write on steps. And so I was just hungry. And so I started to learn about powerlessness. I started learning about, the hope and filling the void with positive things and a power greater than myself. And I started to kind of weed through all this stuff that I had been through and this crazy boyfriend, and really getting in touch with these character defects and getting in touch with the people in my life that I had created all this damage with. And I really blew through those steps in about a year. I just kind of was like, here's all my shit, and I just gave it all to my first sponsor. And I needed that. It gave me a purpose. It gave me something to do. I got super involved in service. I was on the literature committee, and I would show up there, and there was no air conditioner in the facility, and it was August, and it was hot as fuck. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not clean. This is great. Like, I love it. This is giving me purpose. I got purpose again. I got social capabilities again. I got a sense of self again. Like, things were really starting to come together, and I was feeling pretty good about my life at that moment, even though I didn't know what was going to come. I didn't have a goal other than just staying clean. And I wrote all those steps, and at that time, my sponsor at the time, she went back to school full time. She got pregnant, and she was working full time. And like, her ability to work a step with me, I don't even think she was awake. I was like, are you awake? Like, I'm hungry. Like, I'm working steps. I'm like, come on, all right, we did this once. We're going to do it again. First step, blah, blah, blah. And I'm all over it. And I was super excited. And she was just like, I don't even know if she knew I was talking about. And I felt, I was like, well, you know what? It's not a marriage. I have been working with this wonderful woman, and I respected her recovery. And I said, so, who's your sponsor? And do you work steps? And I knew where her home group was, because it was my husband. I had started seeing somebody, and his home group was her home group. And so I'm like, oh, well, I knew where her home group was. And she was there every Wednesday, because I would kind of go sometimes with my cute boyfriend. And so I interviewed her, and then a couple days later, I was like, would you be my sponsor? And she was like, okay, you got to tell your sponsor that, you're getting a new sponsor. And so she owned a restaurant, so we were at this restaurant, and I swear to God, 5 minutes later, my sponsor at that time walked through the door. And I was like, oh shit. She was like, you got to go do it. I was like, what? Right now? I know, oh my God, And so I sat with her, and that was my very first real panic attack. I was so filled with fear. I divulged a lot to this woman, told her a lot about myself. I was so nervous. And, those little things were my spiritual awakenings. This was God working through my life. I had done 12 steps with her, and it was time for me to move on. And I did that, and I started working steps. I went back to 1, and I continued to work the steps. And so each time each time I go through the steps, I get closer to my higher power. Each time I get to my 10th step, I'm on my 10th step again now for like, I think it's the 5th time. And so I'm on that right now. I haven't started writing on it again, but I just went over 9 steps. So it's very fresh for me right now, this 10, 11, and 12, a spiritual situation, these maintenance steps. You know, I've been through some things in recovery, and I have walked through some pain. I got married in recovery. I've filed bankruptcy in recovery. I had a child. I didn't think I could have children. I ended up getting pregnant with this child and that I wanted. And so there's these things that started happening in my life. And what happened for me was the 10th step gave me the ability to keep me in my present, because my husband was going through his own thing. You know, he was an addict in recovery without a program. I'll throw his shit out there. But he didn't really have a strong program, and he was really hurting in his own way. And I had been working steps, and I had a program that I knew was going to help me. So I'm looking at this 10th step and all these people-pleasing things and all these codependency things and these things, these situations in my life, keeping me in the present, keeping me in the now, keeping me focused on what I need to take care of and letting go of the things I cannot control. And that's what that 10th step has continued to do for me on a deeper level every single time. And so and when we were going through the bankruptcy and stuff, I remember being on a 10th step. I remember when COVID and everybody went home, I was on that 10th step. And these were little painful things in my life, in my little world. These were traumatic, like things that, I got, the whole bankruptcy thing happened, and, I was broke. I was like broke as a joke, and my car was on its last leg, and there was things going down and things I couldn't control, and I would fall apart. But what happened, the 10th step at that time kept me focused. It kept me right here and right now. And then when I go over to that 11th step, which kind of goes right on into that, all I could do is pray for the God of my understanding to please help me, fill me with some sort of, what can I do? How can I help myself? What do I have to do? What's the next thing? And so that empowered me. I felt like there was something, I was being carried through those situations. And that bankruptcy situation and my husband being all, whatever he was doing, that 10th step and 11th step carried me through that. And because I was not focusing so hyper on myself, and I could see that I was doing okay and that I was surviving and living, and I think it says somewhere in there, more living than surviving. I was living in the solution, trying to live in, okay, well, what do we have to do to save money? We got another place, and we started to build our credit, and things started happening. And so I had that spiritual awakening in that 12th step, that, these are the things I need. These are the things that are important. And being a part of this fellowship and giving back has given me another sense of purpose during that time too, and I got that, I'm alive, I'm okay, things are going to be okay. And helping that next person is what fills me. I really do believe it to my core that you have to give it away to keep it. I believe that to my soul. Every time that I've helped somebody else, I get so much more in return. And even if it's someone with a lot of clean time or no clean time, no matter what, I still feel that sense of freedom when I'm able to help someone and give them a little bit of the information that I have and these living skills. And like I said, I go through the steps again, and then, we got this whole COVID thing, which sucked, and we're in the house, and I was freaking out because for the first time in my entire life, I had become healthy. I had never put the focus on my health. I had never taken the time to be consistent with an exercise program and a food program, and I had started eating really healthy and getting in shape, and I had this gym and I had my meetings, and I'm working steps, and the husband and the kid and everything. I was just levitating. I was like, 2019, I was like levitating. I was like, this is the shit, I'm like, I'm out here living my life. I'm healthy and I can run 3Ks and I'm doing all the things, And I really, really was excited about that. And I was like, this is going to go great. And then COVID happened and we couldn't do anything really. And I continued to do the exercise regimen and do things that I could do, but it really did shake my world. I don't really like wrenches in my wheel. It's really uncomfortable when things change. And I don't think anybody can relate to that. So I felt really crazy during that time. And I was on my 10th step. And it forced me to keep me in the now. Am I praying? Am I calling my sponsor? Am I taking her suggestions? Am I reaching out to someone else that I know is feeling the same way that I'm feeling? Am I taking care of my health? Am I taking care of my son? Oh, and he was home. Oh, it was a whole thing. And so it was a really difficult time for me. And for most, right? I can't be thinking that nobody else went through it. So that 10th step saved me. It saved me mentally and emotionally because I could keep myself focused on not cussing people out, not freaking out, not losing my mind. What can we do? You know, my son and I would take these long walks in the woods. I don't know how we didn't have deer ticks all over us. I don't know. Like, we would take these, I had these weird woods behind our house, and they would wind down. It was kind of creepy. I used to do these little Facebook Live things. I still find them, you know, sometimes I'll see them. They'll pop up in March, I'm sure. So, you know, me walking through these woods and finding joy and spending time with my son instead of complaining at him all the time for not doing whatever he was supposed to be doing, because it was just, you know, frustrating with the whole new way of life, so to speak, at that time. And so the 10th step kept me present. And when I treated him like shit, or if I did something, snapped at somebody else, I can come back and say, I'm sorry for acting that way. It gave me that ability to be aware. And through that I was able to fill my spirit with my higher power, and knowing that, you know, I'm going to be okay with or without a partner. With or, you know, what does it say in the It Works How and Why? It's a whole beautiful paragraph I don't have memorized, but it does talk about we are, you know, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. I just have to continue to stay in the solution and pray, and not pray for specifics. I did pray for a child, and I got a kid with Kyla. He cried for like 2 months straight, and that's fine. But I love my kid, and it's just is, you know, it is what it is. So I never thought I would have a child, and so, and in turn, coming through to that 12th step and starting a Zoom meeting at that time, and continuing on helping other people. I do work in treatment. I am currently trying to get out of that type of work. I'm too empathetic. I think I absorb a lot of the things that are going on, and sometimes that's why the 10th step right now is really important. In any time, it's really important. There's maintenance steps. And so just because I'm not on it, you know, I've worked it before, and I have awareness about it. And so when I am working with the community, the overdose population in my county, in my state, can be really high, and there can be women on there, and I get really emotional about that. But I don't know that I'm being emotional about it. So I absorb all that and think to myself, you know, this person has a child, or it's someone's daughter or son or whatever, and I absorb all that, and I go to my home group, right? My lovely home group members are here. So I go to my home group, and there's a woman standing at the pamphlets, and we're over here cackling, and this woman's standing there by herself, and I'm all, why is no one talking to the women? You know, and why aren't we reaching out? You know, and I'm taking on the whole planet, right? And that's not the purpose of, you know, all I had to do was walk over to the woman, give her my phone number, right? Okay, call me tomorrow, you know, or whatever. No, I've got to make it everybody's problem, because I don't know how to do my feelings. So I had to come back. I'm really sorry. I acted out. I have these emotions. I have these things that I don't know that I'm hurting for these reasons. Let me bring it to the current and, you know, be like, you know, I'm really sorry. And I had to do that. You know, it's very humbling to come back and go, you know, I think I might have acted out a little bit. And I did feel bad for that. So all I can do is what I can do in the moment. All I can do is give my phone number. I can't save everybody. I'm not in the business to save everybody. I am in the business of being a part of this 12-step recovery solution. I am in the business of this is my personal recovery, and I'm willing to share it with anyone. And it's really important for me to stay in the middle and be a part of service and work steps, show up to the people that, I sponsor and be sponsored. My sponsor called me out the other day. I was like, dang, she called me out in a really nice way. And it was fun. I was like, damn, that's why you're my sponsor. I love you. She was like, shit, or get off the pot. And I was like, you're right, I should. And that's what I need. I need direction. I need somebody to keep me in check. I don't care how long I've been clean. My clean date is 11/11/01. I've been clean for a little while, and I try to remain teachable. I try to remain in the middle. And without this program, I'd be dead. And I love it. And really, that's all I got. I'm going to keep coming back. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for sharing.